cool at first.
Woman in the back in pink, I'm calling on her. I like that.
She tears up.
All right.
Mitchell told his members that you don't have the luxury of voting based on guns, God, or gays anymore. You better vote your pocketbook.
And immigration too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And the fear mongering. But I'd like to take it a step further, and I get this from my husband, who just recently retired, 41 years, Communication Workers of America. Not since Eisenhower has there been a Republican that supports unions. So if a Republican is telling you that they support a union, they are lying to you. That you're not part of the DNA. And then you need to do your homework, because there's some skunks in the Democratic Party.
Say the least.
It's not your dad's Republican Party anymore. They do not support unions, and you're going to have buyer's remorse. So.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Judith, what are you going to throw in for us quick and loud, if you can?
Hey, my name is Judith LeBlanc. I'm from Peace Action. And in Wisconsin, where in the Rotunda, Peace Action Wisconsin was there, Veterans Against the War were there, and our message there was move the money. Move it from weapons and wars back to our communities. In building a We Are One movement or organization, We Are Ohio, We Are Wisconsin, how do you think we're going to make real what Barney Frank brought up today and what Martin Luther King said, which is the bombs, dropped in Vietnam, exploded in our communities? How are we going to connect the solutions in an ongoing way? Taxing corporations, the rich, and bringing the war dollars home.
The mayor?
I think, well, I know for a fact, the one thing that was unique and essential in Wisconsin was that we took it to the streets. And that we didn't just sit at home and talk amongst ourselves. See, right now, this is a great forum, and this is a great conference, but it's like preaching to the choir, as they say. But if we're preaching to the choir, that's fine. We can be the preachers, you can be the choir, but we have to go out and talk to the church, which is the citizens in our state. One thing, they like to correlate this to a civil rights movement of sorts, but if there was one critique of the civil rights movement, it was that they stopped taking it to the streets. Because they had many victories, landmark victories. I mean, the Voting Rights Act of 64 and 65, Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas, but they stopped organizing the sit-ins, they stopped going in and talking to the people. We cannot stop talking to the people. We have to keep the pressure on. And when we protest, it affects, obviously we see from Wisconsin, it affects not only the people that are at the protest, but it affects everybody in the state for sure. And you do it long enough, it's going to affect everybody worldwide. So we have to make sure that we keep our moral outrage strong. Our resolve has to stay strong. Our passion has to be deeper. Our pain has to last longer. Otherwise, we're not doing anything by just talking to each other. We have to make sure that the people out there that don't necessarily agree with us, the independent voters and the Republican voters. Many of my members have been Republicans, say now, I'll never vote for a Republican again. And the only way they do that is by us talking to them. And as far as unions go, we stopped educating and mobilizing and organizing. We were servicing. So we have to make sure that we educate our new members and let them know why it's important. Because right now there's a sense of entitlement with our young members. We got to get rid of it. That's right. All right. We have to make sure we educate our members.
Sounds good. Poor Mahlon keeps getting told to run for office. Hey, I got a good friend back there standing up. What are you going to say, my friend? That's you. You're micless, but you got a voice.
I do.
Oh, yeah. She's on it.
That's what I was looking for.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm from Ohio, Cincinnati, home of the losing Bengals. But we want to invite you to Ohio. We need Wisconsin. We need you. The opposition has money, but we have power. We have power in people. So we're asking you to come to Ohio. We'll put you up. We'll feed you. We'll love you. We need you to help us to get out to vote. I have several people from Ohio. Would you please stand who have cards?
Ohioans. That's right.
I travel. Take it. Read it. Read it to your babies. Read it to your grannies. Read it. Take a card. Support us. We need you. That's the only way that we're going to stop this. Come and help us out. We appreciate it.
Oh, I like that. Organizing in the room.
All right on.
Got a quick hit for this gentleman right here. Say it loud, sir.
My name's Ken Vellante. I used to be an assistant director at Madison Teachers. I'm out in the state of Oregon now. And one of the things that I really need some perspective on is I'm taking a colleague of mine, Jesse Reschke, who also worked for Madison Teachers. You see there's a diaspora going on. We're trying to spread the message, and we're doing presentations in small towns around the state of Oregon. And there's a great urgency, and these have been successful in energizing some teachers in that state. But one of the issues, one of the problems that there's an immediacy for me coming out of Wisconsin because it changed my life forever. And it's tough to communicate what exactly went down, what exactly happened. And I'm just wondering if there's some perspective about how you can communicate when it hasn't happened to you to maybe a bit of a lethargic union or folks that are used to being serviced within the union to say, this shit went down. And I saw the face of the devil. And try to communicate that to folks who are saying, yeah, I got it. You're there, you were there, that's cool, but it's not quite like that in Oregon or California or Arizona or wherever. And I'm just trying to some help with that.
That's a good question. And we're getting right to the last moments here. So I want to just quickly say to you, I've written a lot about this. You know what the answer is? They can't take it from Wisconsin. They can't do what Wisconsin did. The reason the Wisconsin movement worked was because it was deeply rooted in a place and its progressive values. You've got to find the progressive values of the place where you live and connect to them. We held our rallies out in front of the state capitol. At the other end, for those WEAC rallies, at the other end was a statue of Hans Christian Heg, a Norwegian immigrant who came to the United States and became the head of the prisons in Wisconsin. When a fugitive slave came into the state being chased by the slave catchers, Hans Christian Heg would arrest that slave and put that slave in the state prison and hold that slave there until the fugitive slave catchers had left, and then he would delegate a state prison worker to take that slave safely to freedom in Canada. And Hans Christian Heg then formed a unit of Norwegians to fight in the Civil War, and they took only commands in Norwegian because they said, if an English speaker said retreat, we won't know to do it. They went into battle with a live eagle that they unleashed on the Confederates as the battles began. And so we told that story at our rallies because this was a part of defending who we are. Every state has to find its own progressive heart and soul and dig deep into it. Oregon's got a great story. But what I'm telling you is, don't just say that they did it in Wisconsin. We can do it better in Ohio. We can do it better in Oregon. Rather than just try to imitate, dig deep into who you are. And I want to close off today by inviting the critical thing in Wisconsin. There was a tremendous amount of organizing. There was a tremendous amount of energy. But when the governor came down with his plan, everybody was walking around with their jaws hanging down. They're like, what the hell are we going to do? And one group of people decided, well, we know what we're going to do. We're going to the street tomorrow morning.